Well, good morning. I'm back at the cabin. I'm up here for 10 days. So, as I always do on the first of the trip, is I have to plan my meals for the week. What's on the agenda this week is I'm headed up into the swamp to work on my rustic log cabin. That's 5 miles up in the swamp by boat or canoe. So what I'm making today is I am making poor man's jerky. Poor man's beef jerky. And what you're going to start out with is a package of corned beef. That's it. Some corned beef. I do 2 batches. The first batch was going to be regular, right out of the package, just as you would buy it. And then the second batch, my smoker will... I can't really get 2 of these packages in one cooking, so it's going to take 2 today. And the second batch will have some spices in it, brown sugar, teriyaki sauce, stuff like that. Nothing fancy, keeping with simple cooking here at the cabin. So I'm going to start by getting this cut up and ready to go. Now what you want to do when you're cutting up this corned beef, because this isn't a great cut of meat anyways, so what you do is you see the grain goes this way, make sure to cut across the grain. You want little thin pieces. And the other thing is you'll see some fat here. You want to try to trim off that fat a little bit. This isn't the kind of jerky that you put on the shelf and just walk off. This is a jerky that you'll want to put in the refrigerator when it's finished. And the other thing is eat it. You know, don't stockpile it. And around here, beef jerky doesn't last that long anyway, so this stuff will go into my cooler when I am finished with it today. Now when I buy this beef jerky, I buy this corned beef, I buy it right after St. Patrick's Day. And if you buy it in the grocery store right after St. Patrick's Day is when they're trying to unload it. And you can buy a piece of this corned beef, you can buy, this right here probably cost me $3 instead of $14, like they like to charge leading up to the holiday. And that's why I call it poor man's jerky. And it already comes seasoned. And you cut this into, you can, in that smoker over there, you can cut these into 1/4-inch strips. They don't have to be paper thin. They're already in a brine because it's corned beef. That's why you can take it right out of the package and put it into 1/4-inch strips. I like a big knife for this because then I can do the whole piece. I'll be right back. I need to go. I had to go take a grill out of the wood stove. Before I cook meat on my stuff, I take and put it inside the wood stove for cleaning. Hey, see that? Now as beef jerky goes, it usually doesn't have fat in it and stuff like that. That's why, I hope you're getting that. That's why you don't want to not refrigerate this stuff when it's finished. It will be perfectly fine to eat. It'll be very tasty. The extra fat gives you some extra energy while you're out there. That's just a whole lot of goodness right there. It's just you cannot put it on the shelf and walk off and leave it. But all of this beef jerky will be gone before the end of the trip. This stuff will go into my boat. It'll go into my pack. It'll be part of my everyday snack food for the next 10 days. As well as when the smoker is fired up, I have some friends that will be stopping in later to have a piece of beef jerky and sit around the campfire for a few minutes. So there it is. This is a rack that goes inside of my smoker. And all I do is, and this has got 1/4 inch mesh on top of it so the jerky will stay still. What you do is just lay it on here. You don't want it touching another piece of jerky. So this will sit in that smoker for probably about 3 hours. This is the second tray. In about an hour and a half, you want to go inside of that smoker, take out these trays, take the top tray, put on the bottom, and also flip the meat over. And then take the bottom tray and set that up on the top shelf. And that's with any kind of smoker. What it does just changes the area where these things are actually sitting in the smoker. So then you flip the meat over and all that, just so it equally dries. Alrighty, so I got the meat cut up, the second batch, and what I'm doing now is I'm going to make up a little brine for this batch. No fancy measuring here. Just put in, that's probably a little more than a tablespoon. I'm going to go a little more. This is camp, or if you're out in the bush, you don't want to be lugging around a lot of cooking utensils. It's just more stuff to lug. So, got some new stuff here. Same deal here. Try to, like, equal. You're just trying to make a little bit of a wet solution down in there. That right there was teriyaki sauce. This right here is Worcestershire sauce. Same deal. You're just trying to make a liquid down in there. And this right here is liquid smoke. This right here is liquid smoke. And this will just put the flavor right inside the meat. And I went out and got my handy dandy A handy dandy stick. We're going to let this set in there for about 10 minutes before we stick it in the smoker. Give her a good stir, get that stuff on there. Smells good. Smells really good. All right, so I'll be back in 10 minutes. Then we'll put it in the smoker. Just putting the last few pieces in the smoker. Wanted to bring you guys back so you could have a little peek in here, see what it looks like. I have 3 shelves of corned beef jerky smoking. And it should take about 3 hours, give or take. I'll bring you over so you can have a little peek. Tray down here in the bottom that allows the heat to be dispersed all the way around equally so that the jerky will cook. This bottom shelf has just straight out of the package. This second shelf has the seasonings that I added in, and the top shelf. There's about a shelf and a half of each. So, but they will both be tasty. It just gives you a little bit of variety. Well, it's been an hour and a half. I have flipped them over once already and switched out my shelves. Got plenty of cooking going on over there. I mean, I got plenty of firewood in my firebox. And this is what it looks like at this point. It's very hot because it's setting in there. But oh, you probably want an up close look, huh? Well, let me finish chewing here for a minute, and we'll do that. Here's what it looks like. Corned beef smoked in a smoker. As you can see, it's darkened up nicely. Has a nice color on it. It's oily right now, but all meat in here is a little bit oily until it has a chance to cool. It's still got another hour and a half of cook time in here, but at this point it's looking really, really good. And then, like I said, in about an hour and a half I will take it out, let it cool, and then it will be ready for transport up into the swamp and for my scouting this week. My lunches. This right here is my finished corned beef jerky. I had it over in the smoker today for about 3.5 hours. It's all finished. Then you take it out and let it sit to cool, and you just end up with a better product by doing that. But as you can see, when you rip it open, it's all dry through. It tastes great. It might not be the flavor that you would be accustomed to when it comes to jerky, but to me, This is a great alternative to the beef prices for making jerky, and like I said, this goes on sale every spring right after St. Patrick's Day. So it's something that I put in the freezer anyways, and this right here will make a great boat snack or hiking snack while I'm out in the bush. But there it is. And then over here is what I had going on the other fire pit. That's my cabbage stew. Now what I'm going to do with this cabbage stew is I'm going to have it for supper tonight. You see, loaded with cabbage. I put smoked sausage in there. I pre-cooked the smoked sausage earlier so I could have the oils and stuff in the soup. And then just a few minutes ago, I dumped it back into the stew. I did not want it to sit there and cook all day with the cabbage and stuff because I wanted something left of it. What I'm going to do now is let this cool down, and then I'm going to stick it. I'm going to let this cool down, and I'm going to put it in a quart mason jar. I have several of them up here, and then I can stick that in my cooler, and that's how I will take care of the rest of the meal, what I don't eat tonight. And then as I go out in the boat, we're going out scouting here tomorrow, and I will be bringing this with me with a pot, and then I will stop, build a campfire, warm up my cabbage stew, have some beef jerky with it, and that will be my lunch tomorrow out in the swamp. Well, this is a piece of the jerky. I hate to do this to you guys. I got a funny story though about some jerky. A couple of years ago I made up some jerky for a friend of mine. And I made up, it was actually 2 pounds. Pound for me and a pound for him. Well, it's a long ride home from here. My pound I ate while I was here at the cabin. But on the ride home, I kept reaching into that bag that was sitting on the seat of the truck. And before you knew it, that other bag was gone. Well, my buddy, I'm not sure he's let me live that down yet. But by the time I got home, his bag of jerky was gone. So, I got another friend. He's on his way up here sometime this week. Gonna spend a day or two. And he said, save me a piece of that jerky. I told him, I said, I'll do the best I can. But I'm not making any promises. So, I know, you should think you could save a piece of jerky for your buddy. But, you know, it's one of them things, just like them Pringles potato chips. You can't eat just one. Keep watching the videos. I got some good stuff that I'm still working on. I got some fun stuff still coming out. I'm still working on that tag video. Episode number 3, I cannot wait for you to get your hands on it. I just think it is hilarious. Maybe that's my warped sense of humor, I don't know. But you should have saw the wife the other night when she turned on the television and she come across the best place to take a crap in the state of Maine. Well, at the beginning of it, she was not very proud of her little Tommy. But as she watched the video and got into it a couple of minutes, then she could tell that this was actually going to be maybe funny. So I hope you guys found it funny, or at least as funny as I did. And if you didn't find that funny at all, then the guy that tagged me, look him up and send him some hate mail. So, but like I said in the video, maybe you shouldn't do that. It's actually pretty funny. I've enjoyed putting it together. And episode 2, you won't want to miss that. I don't want to give away too much, but I've traveled several miles to put episode 2 together so that I can bring you parts and pieces of the state of Maine. So enjoy episode 2 and laugh your hiney off when you get to episode 3. And I haven't picked out episode 4 yet. Like I said, we got 5 parts to that series. And I got an idea for episode 4, but I haven't worked out all the details yet. So, but I will update you as we get along, and then just keep adding to it until I get to episode 5, and then we will move on from the best place to take a crap in the state of Maine. So, thank you, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. If you have, thank you very much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. I thoroughly enjoy doing this stuff and bringing you the life that I have here at the cabin. I hope that you're enjoying it. I really love sharing my swamp and my experiences back there. So this time of year is when I really start my deer scouting and all of that, and movement of tree stands and stuff like that. So that's what we're on this week. We're on missions to get my tree stands placed and all of that, and pick out where I intend to do my deer hunting this fall. I have my eye on a couple of spots that I think might pan out, and we'll see what happens. So I will see you on the next one, and thank you very much for all of your support.